everyone. This is Juice, associate producer and co-host here at the Air Combat Sim podcast. And I just wanted to let you all know that I will be visiting the United Kingdom for 3 weeks. And during that trip, I will be in the RAF Duxford area on Friday, April 29th and Saturday, April 30th. If any of you are in the area or planning to visit the Imperial War Museum or want to just meet up for coffee or a pint, contact me via our ACS Discord or our YouTube channel in the comments area. I'll try to connect and meet some of our fans in the area, and thanks for listening, and stay tuned for more great content coming this year. Cheers, everybody.
Welcome to the Air Combat Simulation Podcast, brought to you by BVR Productions. Together with content creators, mission builders, experts, and enthusiasts, we explore the comprehensive world of combat aircraft simulation.
Hello everyone, welcome to the next episode of the Air Combat Sim podcast. I have no idea which episode it is, because I don't even know when it will be aired exactly, probably in 3 weeks from now. But it's gonna be an interesting one. We're going to talk about a lot of things coming up soon and a bit later from Razbam Sims. So we're gonna talk about the Falklands map and talk about the F-15E and probably some other things too. So today on our side of the ACS side, so we have Goat with us. Hey Goat.
Hey, how's it going?
And Bel Geode. Did I say it right this time?
Yes, you did. Bel Geode it is.
And we also have Tricker with us here. Hey Tricker.
Hey, what's going on everybody? Glad to be here.
Yeah, good to see you, man.
Good to see you too.
And on the Razbam side, we have Ron, who's the CEO of Razbam.
Hi guys, how you doing?
Yes.
Glad to be here.
As well as Spectre and Reaper, who are both working on the Falklands map as part of the Razbam team.
Hi guys.
Hi guys.
So I think let's start, because we have quite a few questions. We have also lots of questions we got from the listeners. There was a huge interest in this episode, looking by the number of replies on Facebook and other places. And I think let's directly go to the Falklands, and the first question that was repeated many times was, when can we expect that?
2 weeks.
I knew it.
No,
come on now. You had to know that was coming.
No, at the moment we are in the final stages of producing our release candidate at the moment, which we're submitting to ED for evaluation, and fingers crossed, I guess it shouldn't be too long in the near future.
That's exciting.
Oh, okay. I mean it's if it was for me it would be out yesterday, but we're really looking forward for the community to get hold of the map and just experience some of the absolutely fantastic scenery that's in Argentina, Chile, which is fantastic to fly over.
I concur. I've had a chance to see it, and I completely agree. It is amazing, and I think people will be very happy to see how big it is. I know we spoke about it before, but has anything changed in terms of the area of the map that will cover the whole thing?
Well, currently it's 3.1 million square kilometers. So just to give somebody a sort of a guide of scale, if you had a ship at the bottom left and you told it to sail to the right-hand side of the map at 24 knots, it would take you 3 days in actual time.
3.2 million square kilometers.
Yeah.
Or miles. Kilometers.
Yeah, I believe it's the biggest map in DCS at the moment. Well, will be the biggest map in DCS. So we're quite looking forward to people getting carrier groups lost in the map, multiple of. As we were testing, Ripper and I put a carrier group in the top left-hand side, tried to find it, we ran out of fuel. So it's a good experience, really, really good experience.
How much disk space does it take up?
Currently, it's around about 68 gig.
You need to make it one more gig.
It probably will be
69.
It probably will be when it's finished, but there are post early access. We will have like the left hand side of the map, sort of the spine of Chile and stuff, all nicely splat mapped and stuff like that. So I mean, obviously they're not in at the moment, so what I mean by not in.
Now, for sake of comparison, how many gigs is DCS itself, like the default game, the stock standard game that you download?
Not sure, to be fair. I know on comparison, our map at the moment is on par with Syria. So it's around about the same size now, as in disk space size. But we still have more stuff to add. So I would say maybe another 10 gig. So it's probably going to be around about 79 gig. But I mean, you've got to sort of, I mean, it's a case of you want more area, you need more space. There's more textures to load, there's more terrain textures and stuff like that. So
yeah, but you also have much more sea than the Syria map, which means that the land you have must be really well done or have better textures or whatever. I don't know how to compare that, but it sounds amazing.
Yeah, I mean, there is a lot more sea because we wanted to include the exclusion zones and stuff around the like Chile, Argentina, and also the Falklands. So that, I think it's 145 or something like that, didn't it, Rip? He's a sailor, so
yeah, it is, mate. It's about 150 mile total exclusion zone with Falklands. And then east to west, I haven't got a clue.
Yeah, so we wanted to include those so people could, simulate proper battles and proper scope for doing things correctly. So we've managed to achieve that. So,
and one more question. Speaking about again, that may be my ignorance, or it is my ignorance, but I know in DCS there's this thing that if you go back in time far enough, you won't have satellite navigation, etc. This is linked to maps, or is like a core DCS issue? In other words, if we start, flying in 45 around Falklands, you will not get sat-nav as well?
I don't, to be honest with you, I've never checked that out. I mean, currently, our build works with sat data. We will test that if we stick the date back to 1945 and see if there is any satellite data. But I mean, for the terrain itself, we are actually using satellite data. I felt it was the best visually for people. So. Guess that's what we did.
Of course, the only date that really matters is 1982, right?
Yeah, I suppose. But I mean, I didn't come into this to recreate the Falklands War, if you know what I mean. I came into this to try and create the best visual map possible because I'm a helicopter guy. I love eye candy. When you're flying low and you've got so much, different bits and things to look at as opposed to just grassy areas and stuff. So that's kind of where I was kind of going with it. And I think, from above, it's just absolutely phenomenal. Just looking down, if you can imagine FSX 2020. How beautiful that is when you're at, say, 8,000 feet looking down, and the really, really good quality textures that some of the maps that Eagle Dynamics have done, lower level, a mix of the two, and that's kind of where we are.
That actually does sound pretty awesome. There was a kind of a funny question that I just came across here on the viewer questions. I don't know how well this is gonna tie into the map, but how many different species of penguins will there be? Are we gonna go that far south from Argentina and Chile that we'll be able to see penguins?
That sounds like my question.
Yeah, it's a trick question.
Yeah.
You can ignore that question.
Well, there are penguins in the Falklands. Yep.
Just one?
No, for you, mate. We haven't got round to the 6 different types. I've been on Wiki this afternoon, and I'll contact you directly.
Oh.
Penguin spotter.
Yeah. The Emperor King's penguin.
King, rockhopper, craghopper, southern craghopper.
The only one I know is the king, so I'm being educated right now.
No.
Yeah, I did notice that was your question, Trigger. Unfortunately, I couldn't let that one pass up. That was just too good.
I appreciate that. I put a lot of thought into that one.
Now we've got penguins in. We have killer whales. We have orcas. We have some other things, rams, goats, stuff like that. As I said, the aim was to make this visually appealing for helicopter people. I know probably at flying at 20,000 feet in a jet, you're not going to notice a sheep walking across the field, but in a helicopter you would.
So that's this famous assets pack, right? That's coming with it.
That's integrated with the map. We also have the assets pack, which has some unique things which have never been done before. 2 of them I'll name. So we have an animated lighthouse. So when you load the map, it's included in the map. So you have the assets pack, which comes with obviously the map, and by default, the animated lighthouse will be placed where it's supposed to be when you load any mission or go into the editor. So at night, you'll see a rotating beam of light. Another thing that we have quite cool is a animated billboard. So it rotates every 20 seconds, and we're going to allow squadrons and whoever to modify the texture so they can put their own adverts for their own squadrons on the billboards that rotate across the map. For instance, if somebody's got a flight evening coming up, it's quite important they'd be able to put that up so anybody flies the map and downloads their pack. That would be a really, really cool idea.
That's really cool. That's a really cool idea. I would definitely put in some like amaranth pictures or something.
Yeah.
We've got. But that's actually a really cool idea, though.
We've got some other things. We've got wind turbines. So we've got 2 types of wind turbines: land-based and offshore-based. Both react to the direction of the wind and the speed of the wind. So the faster the wind, the faster they'll spin. They've all got collision shells. They've all got they can give damage as well. So if you want to play chicken with the blades, crack on.
So you did say this was an assets pack. Is that going to be like something that you can buy eventually, or is that going to be like at release?
We have not come to a final decision. I guess that's down to Ron and ED how it will come with the map anyway, but whether it's going to be for sale separately, I think that's maybe ask Ron or something, just in case.
Yeah, no, that's a really cool idea. I really liked it.
I think what ties to this are also other assets, meaning if you want to recreate a Falklands war, will there be some new AI units, ships, etc., that will probably be purchasable separately or included?
So currently, initially when we started the project, this was just going to be the Falklands Islands at all. If that was the case, it would have been finished about 2 years ago. The community spoke. They wanted to be able to fly from the mainland. We included part of the mainland. Didn't kind of look right because it was just like a chunk of the mainland, which didn't really fit in. So we extended the map a little bit further south. Didn't really fit again. So we thought, go big or go home, and we'll go all the way down the bottom, which is what we did. So the focus hasn't been so much on the assets pack. So we're not really where we should have been if we were only doing the Falkland Islands. But we have got a few ships in there, quite a few ships, which I'll let Ripper explain because he's an ex-Navy. We've got the Illustrious, the Castle Class, the Dumbarton, we've got harbour tugs, the list goes on. We've actually got Sea Cat missiles working, Sea Dart missiles, torpedoes, various other bits and bobs. So, yeah, it's really good. I mean, if Rip wants to step in there.
Yeah, guys, I'll not bore you with too much Navy stuff. I was ex-Navy myself. As we said, there's going to be a lot of AI assets that people can use to recreate certain scenarios. Ship-wise, there's about 4 or 5 that spring to mind. All the major units that were down there. That's both UK and Argentina, but also some of the other stuff that other countries that's maybe down there. But as I said, Ron and Clark's gonna sort all that out without ED.
Okay. I'm gonna say that what Clark and Rip and his team have done with the map is something unparalleled so far to what's been done in any other map for DCS. I mean, visually, it's something that it's gonna really strike really hard when you see it. I mean, it's definitely something different. It's a lot of work, a lot of passion, a lot of love for what they're doing. And well, regarding the asset packs, well, there's, as Clark just said, I mean, we are trying to see a way with Eagle Dynamics if the asset pack can be acquired, in a different way, just not by getting the map. But if you don't want to, you don't want to buy the map, but you want to have the HMS Antilope. Well, you can buy the asset pack apart as a different product, standalone product. But we have not come to an actual business solution to that yet. And there is more than one reason to that, because the asset pack, as we all envision it, is huge. So there's a lot of work being done currently. So I think that most of it won't be ready by the time the actual map is released, but will be updated as we keep updating everything. So once we think it's complete, then it probably will be available as a standalone product.
And then one more question that links with that, and that came up a lot, was the Sea Harrier. As there's been talk about it being at one point a flyable module. So any updates on that?
Yeah, sure. Okay. I'm a big Harrier fan, as you know. In fact, my first 3D mesh I did ever was a Sea Harrier in GMAX. This was like 2001, I think. Well, anyway, once we start thinking about the Falklands map that eventually evolved into the South Atlantic map, and it was obviously the 1982 conflict comes to mind. So, like Clark said, he was not into recreating the Falklands War, but creating an awesome map that could be eventually be converted into the Falklands War. And having said that, and when this project started, I say, okay, we're gonna create a series of AI assets for it too, which will be needed, and not just for an actual map, but for an eventually recreation of the war. That's when I started working on the Sea Harrier, the Sea King. There are some 2 or 3 other helicopters I don't want to mention because I don't want to create a unnecessary hype yet. And the Pucara, the F-15E Pucara, that started mostly, was definitely going to be an AI asset first, but then the guy started working and saying, no, I want to create a full-blown model. So I said, okay, go ahead. But it will be as an AI in the Falklands map. So I said, definitely going to need some of the Harriers that actually were there. So I started the Sea Harrier, FRS.1. but then stumble in a huge wall that it's the British Ministry of Defense and the way they deal with classification about information on sensitive materials like the radar. So, like the Blue Vixen is the grandfather of the current radar the Eurofighter uses. So it's been deemed classified. So having access to the radar of the Sea Harrier has been really kind of a big problem, and it really puts a pause on what can be done because I can move forward treaty-wise. In this case, myself as a treaty developer, I can move forward treaty-wise a lot, but eventually it will need to be coded. So until we get something really as close as possible of what can be available for public regarding the Sea Harrier actual radar capacities, I decided that it might come out first definitely as an AI, but I decided that put a stop on developing it right now as a full model and move into GR3. So right now what I'm creating as a flyable aircraft is a Harrier GR3 that will mingle perfectly with the Falklands map and any eventual recreation of the 1982 conflict.
I think some GR3s were sent along with the Sea Harriers later on, right? Am I correct, or were they GR1s? 3s?
The GR3s were sent with the ARF.
Yeah.
As a supplement for, in the case of the Sea Harriers were blown out of the sky, so they only have like 24 Sea Harriers. And they were losing Sea Harriers when they sent them to attack ground targets, but they were actually fleet defenders. So they sent the GR3 to do the dirty work. And they lost like three or four aircraft. I can't remember exactly right now. But basically, yeah, they were the ground pounders while the Sea Harriers moved into air interdiction.
There's a very good book by Sharkey Ward. His kind of recollection from the war. It's funny to read that because he's a guy that he really says what he thinks, and he got lots of trouble later on with some admirals and generals and whatnot. But it's a good read.
Yeah, in fact, we got right now working actually not directly with me, but he's been getting involved with GR3 development as we're going right now is Morg. What's the name of this commander? Sorry, I can't remember his name right now. Oh my God, this is bad. Morgan. He flew FS1s in the Falklands War, and also Tony Harper. So they are being right now in contact with me through another guy which is helping in the development of this aircraft, so we can get really, accurate information about these two aircraft. But as right now, like I said, I promised the Sea Harrier as a full-blown model, but right now it's stopped because we lacked information about the sensible systems like the radar. So I move over into the GR3. So the GR3 will come before the Sea Harrier. Now everything can change. I mean, I cannot say this is all solid. This is the way it's gonna happen. This is a very dynamic thing. So given the fact that GR3 and Sea Harrier have, they have the different nodes, all the other basics of the 3D model are actually the same. So things can evolve, things can change, all depending on the amount of information we can have.
Yeah, all right. So that sounds, as always, there's some troubles along the way, but it sounds lots of things to look forward to. And yeah, GR3 would be great to have for starters.
It's not the first time we hit this kind of thing, because this exactly happened when we created the Harrier, because originally it was not going to be the AB-8B and night attack. It was supposed to be a GR7, and then we hit this brick wall. So there is a lot of stuff in the GR7 that is actually classified, even as exactly the same thing, the AB-8B. But if you want to replicate an aircraft to the level, study level, which DCS actually demands you, we move into the night attack, and we still have the problem with the classification of avionics in this aircraft. even as they are no longer flying.
It must be a whole different world of getting those licenses and talking to all those big companies and military, and getting to know what you can use or what you can't. And I think you've done a great job anyway with the French Air Force or U.S. Marine Corps with the Harrier. So it's amazing to be able to work with them, I guess, and get all the information right.
Well, I should add one thing on this. Yeah, well, their help is, is you cannot put an actual value to the amount of help we have got from the French Air Force, some of their officers, and the same with the Marines Corps and some of the officers that are actually working directly with the team. I think that I should say that the big heroes here is the actual development team. I mean, coders, 3D work, 3D developers, everything have been done there. I mean, they make this thing alive. I mean, yeah, we got the great information. We have changed stuff during the pass of time. Not because we could not do it before, but because DCS actually evolved in the form that we can start putting new stuff in it and work the way it should. And that's why it's a never-ending thing. I mean, you can never say this aircraft is finished. We stop continuing improving the thing because we have to move forward. That thing doesn't exist. I mean, as DCS evolves, stuff evolves. We have to change stuff. I mean, the Mirage is heading for a complete, well, not a complete, but actually 2D mesh redone, same as the Harrier. The F-15E Strike Eagle, for instance, this is like this third iteration 3D wise, because the first one we had, they have to evolve into another version, and then graphics and new techniques evolve and new stuff. They have a third iteration of the F-15E Strike Eagle, which we consider is going to be the one that got to be released. But eventually, in the future, it will be changed again. I mean, that's the way you keep going and going. And so, yeah, while the help from all these organizations, Marines Corps, French Air Force, and all the collaboration we have with them in other factors, I can definitely not speak publicly. I think the biggest heroes here are all the guys that push the polys and write the lines of code.
Yeah, I'm definitely on the receiving end of that with all these questions. When will you update the Harrier training missions? Which are like, I thought they were up to date, but no, it's changing all the time.
I think it should be you.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a good segue to the second big topic, which is the F-15E. But maybe there's anything else you guys like to add about Falklands, which we didn't cover or were not asked?
I had a quick question, maybe for like third-party people as well. Do you guys control the watercolor? Like, do you guys make the water yourself, or is it like an ED texture? Like if somebody wanted to make a map.
Yeah, we have control over the watercolor. We can make the color whatever we want, but we've tried to make the color of for instance, the South Atlantic to be representative of the area. We have control over everything really. With the fantastic tools that ED provide. So it's all art really. Trying to get things to blend and match real life is very difficult sometimes.
Yeah, I was just curious because I didn't know if ED provided the tools for you guys, for anybody else that maybe would want to make a map someday. So thanks for answering that.
What about the seasons? I don't even know how many seasons there are in Falklands, but you'll have different textures, or?
Currently, the map will be released with just one season, but then the winter and the rest of the seasons will be added after early access. Because I'm sure you can imagine, we have over 2,500 tiles, which would all need to be edited and manually created for, say, the winter scene and stuff. So yeah. And for the 2 days or for the 2 hours it snows in the Falklands, periodically. It's quite a lot of work.
That's why I was asking how many seasons there are. I have no idea how much snow there is, or I know it's cold, but
Generally in the Falklands, you maybe. I mean, there's always a wind. There's always a wind. I think it's northeast, isn't it, Rip? It comes from northeast. So there's always a wind, and you could get up, bright sunshine, and then 3 hours later you could get a dust and a snow, and then it could rain 3 hours after that. It's absolutely crazy weather. So Rip spent I think 6 months of his life there, so he could probably tell you better than I can.
Yeah, you get all 4 seasons in one day down the Falklands. You can have spring, like Clark said, spring, summer, autumn, winter, all in one day. We have actually used the DCS engine, especially with the new weather generation, to get some pretty close effects. And put it this way, it makes the hair on the back of my neck go up. And I was there for quite a bit of my life.
Now, I assume that also means that what we will see represented in DCS would, I guess, be the opposite of the maps that we see, since, of course, you're in the southern hemisphere, so summer's winter, winter's summer, and so on.
Yeah, I mean, we have not to get into too much technical detail, but we have control over what temperature ranges are allowed between certain months. So we can say between June and maybe March that you can only have between 0 and 1 degree. So therefore, within the editor, people won't be able to choose any other temperature, and obviously that will link down to the snow and stuff like that. So, yeah.
I'm just throwing this out there. This isn't anything Razbam specific, but do you think ED ever will make like a live weather function for any map or anything?
I don't know, to be fair. Hopefully, they're striving to push boundaries all the time. I mean, if you look a year ago, there wasn't really any clouds, and now we've got these absolutely fantastic clouds that just look phenomenal. Just things, and some of the things that they've put out is, it's striving, pushing the boundaries all the time, and that's the thing. As Ron said, what we do, I mean, the Harrier was textured initially one way, and then because of a new process, new tools and stuff, it was then retextured by one of our fantastic artists, Tim. So we're always pushing the boundaries, and if another year goes by and a new tools come out, and ED may support a different lighting facility, so we'll then adapt whatever to that. So it's always a moving goalpost.
Yeah, well, hats off to Tim, because the Harrier's looking pretty nice. I love the textures on it.
Yeah, Tim is
Absolutely.
very special guy. Really good.
That's all I got. BD, if you want to do some F-15.
Yeah, I think we should now move on to the Mud Hen. There were definitely a lot of questions. Some of them, again, the same, coming from different people on various channels. Yeah. So of course the first one was, when can we expect it?
Microphone. Okay. Release date. Whew. That's a tough one. Every time we start thinking about giving a release date, we add new stuff to the aircraft, and we say no, we should have this thing ready before any kind of access to it. So our internal release date keeps moving forward, but it's just because we want to add more features to it. I mean, as it is right now, anybody can jump into it and see how impressive it looks. I'm sorry I'm using this word impressive, but it's really an impressive work done by the whole team. Clark just mentioned Tim Taylor is an amazing 3D developer, texturer, and he's always looking for new cutting edge techniques to include. And this particular project is like his prima donna. I mean, it's the best thing he's done so far, and it's really an amazing thing. And then it's the coding part, which being this such a complicated aircraft, so many features and capacities and everything else, try to put out something that is not up to some kind of a level a level of let's not. I want to use the word finish. I want to use a level of completion of particular systems. If not, we don't reach that kind of level, no matter how simple or minuscule it might look, we don't consider it, we don't gather it as ready. So we don't have this thing ready, so it's not passing our own internal testing phase, so it's not ready, and it keeps adding. We keep adding stuff for release date, so we keep moving forward. But I'm quite confident that it will be in consumers' hands this year.
Okay, that's big news. People will
It
be
is
happy
big
to hear
news.
that.
That's
Yes.
fantastic.
But then, can you say a bit more? I know there's a lot of different capabilities it has, but let's, for instance, focus on weapons. So that's also been one of the questions. So, will there be some new stuff added that DCS doesn't have currently, like GBU 49 or GBU 39 or AGM 130 or something else along those lines?
Well, that's a tricky question because you're talking about really current weaponry, and we don't do weapons. So that's up to Eagle Dynamics. If Eagle Dynamics implements such kind of weaponry and the version of the F-15E Extra Eagle we're doing carried them, they will be included. But if it's not there, if it's not in the DCS library, if it's not included with DCS, we are not gonna create it because intelligent weapons are something that really is managed and created by Eagle Dynamics, not us.
Okay, so only things that are currently in the DCS inventory can be envisaged, at least at the start, and then it will be work with the Eagle Dynamics if anything else is to be added.
Can we talk about what block or variant of the F-15E that's going to be released?
Yeah, we're doing F-15E Extra Eagle Block 4 Plus.
Okay. Is that going to include a HEMIX or helmet mounted queuing system?
We're planning on implementing it later on, but not in release.
Okay.
And then another question that was coming up quite often was about the AI co-pilot or the guy in the back. I know you said before that it's not planned, but has anything changed on that front?
Well, yeah, things have changed a bit. The reason we didn't include, well, in fact, I was not in favor of creating an AI Jester, George, or Petrovich way, was because not just the pilot can manage 98% of all the systems from the front seat, but because of the actual and potential functionality of the project as it is, so to speak. But things have changed, new stuff we are putting into it. DCS have evolved, and we can include more other things that definitely gonna need some kind of AI working with some of the stuff that's going in the backseat. So we're gonna implement an AI solution. It's not named yet. We are just trying to find the correct way to implement it, and it's gonna be more like a tool rather than some guy riding with you back.
Can you explain a little bit more into? You said it's going to be more of a tool than somebody in the back. Can you explain just a little bit more? Like, is it just going to be like text?
We're gonna see what I can say. Okay. There's a difference when you are using the plane. You're sorry, gamers, playing with the game, playing with the aircraft. Sorry, and using it as a game. And there is a different thing when you're using it as a simulator, right? So
Correct.
These are two very different things that use the same vehicle. In this case, it is yes. So, well, in the, let's say, the fashion of the Hind, you can give Petrovich, you have a menu and you say Petrovich to do some kind of stuff that you want him to do, right?
Mhm.
What we are thinking, because this still needs to be, what we are actually planning is to create some kind of stuff that actually manage the things without you actually asking him to do it.
Okay, some sort of like automatic system.
No, do not call it automatic because it's gotta be dynamic. But it's not actually it's something we are planning to include it into the aircraft. So it's something I cannot speak about widely or openly. But it's an idea we are creating towards finding a correct solution for this. So, for instance, many of the stuff that happens in F-15 Strike Eagle before you take off for a mission happens in the ground.
Correct.
Mission management, everything, weapons management, how you're gonna drop the weapons, etc., etc. Then the pilot flies it, and the whistle just put the buttons, push the buttons, and make things working correctly. But since this guy is actually a human being, and the combat and the battles are always dynamic and things change. So, for instance, you take off going to bomb an airbase, but suddenly somebody calls you. We need somebody to help a guy that was shot down. We have to picking up. We need some air cover, and then you change the mission to that. We were looking at some kind of AI that can actually do that kind of stuff. But like I said, it's planned. So far, it's a plan we are having, and we are looking the best way to implement this. It's not that it's going to happen exactly like I'm talking to you, which is what we are planning to do. It's very complex because it's a very complex aircraft. Everything around the F-15 Israel is complexity. So it's not like we are always being poked in the internet about you're just showing beautiful 2D renders, whatever. We want to know what it is. There is a lot of line of codes being written in this aircraft. It's a lot, and you cannot imagine the amount of work to create a simple avionics system in the F-15 Israel. It's nothing like we have done before. I think it's not been done before yet in DCS either.
No, it's interesting, but do you feel like, not to take away from the F-15, but do you feel this is like a learning process to do further modules for multi-crew? Or what would you call this AI system?
Well, okay, you just hit the nail. As you know, we are also developing the A39 Super Tucano. The A39 Super Tucano is a two-seat trainer/coin aircraft. And this Super Tucano we are developing is actually being done for an Air Force. It's going to be used first as a military training tool. Its inception from day one is as a military training tool, not as a commercial DCS development. It will have a DCS commercial. It will have a DCS commercial version, yes, of course. But since this is a two-seat aircraft, and just like the Strike Eagle, the Super Tucano doesn't have the same capacity as the Strike Eagle by far, but it can also use guided weapons and intelligent weapons and a lot of stuff like that. So the guy in the back seat is actually a functional whistle. But the guy in the front seat can do everything as well, without the guy in the back. But to interact between these two guys, when you're using it as a training tool, when you have somebody sit in a training seat, with a VR headset and the peripherals, and you're flying the plane, and the idea behind this is having as much people training at the same time, which is the way this kind of desktop simulators beat the big ones, cockpit replica simulators. You have more people training at the same time. He has to have some kind of interaction with a simulator guy in the back. In the case of the A39 Super Tucano, it does have it's not a teapot, but let's call it like it does have a sensor that it's detachable. It's going in the belly, and it's a FLIR. It depends what kind of mission you're using. If you're going to detect drug dealers, it goes and it serves as a detection system. But if you want to use it to lace for laser guided weapons or missiles, whatever, you put a different part. You attach it to the belly of it. So that sensor can only be used by the guy in the back.
Okay.
The guy in the front receives a transmission. He has three MFDs in the cockpit, big ones, these are bigger than the F-15E actually, and he can see everything what the guy in the back is doing with the sensor moving the camera around, right? But he cannot control it because he does not have a way to control this sensor in particular, just the guy in the back. So having that actual need to try to simulate that in a training environment, it's what we are trying to create in some way into the F-15 Strike Eagle. I really don't want to create any expectations in the community, because this is very complex and difficult thing to implement, and I really don't know which way is going to be implemented for commercial use.
No, that makes sense.
Because so that's I mean, I don't want to start a hype like saying, "Oh, Razbam is doing this thing. Let's gonna make the other AI go into the shadows." No. This is something we are planning to do. Probably the version you're gonna see in the commercial product is gonna be slightly different than current AI or completely different. I cannot say for sure right now. What I can say for sure is that there will be some kind of AI for the backseat, even if you don't need it.
I appreciate you clarifying that, and thanks for answering my question.
I'm getting back slightly to the F-15E. What would you say are probably the most innovative features, or the real deal makers, if you will, for that particular bird as it's coming? What are the features that you think people are going to enjoy the most with it?
Oh, well, that's a tough one. There's a lot of features. Okay. If we put down, let's strip the project as it is. Okay, let's put one part. Let's put our part avionics, and let's put visuals. There's a lot of visual features that nobody have seen yet in DCS. I'm not gonna tell them. We want them to be as a surprise, but a lot of new animations and stuff that I have not seen yet. And I think people are gonna say, "Wow," because I think that's the wow factor. And as for the other part, avionics wise, I think that the radar is gonna be something that's gonna blow many people's mind.
Yeah, I think that's probably one of the most anticipated things. Is a really good ground radar. Not that all the other stuff that we've seen thus far in the other planes is good, but I think that's one thing that a lot of people are hoping for.
We have in the team a really I would call him the radar guy. He's a good. His goes under Razbam Galinet in our Discord. So he created the what you see right now in the Mirage. The new Mirage radar has been done by him,
which is amazing, by the way.
Yeah, well, in those grounds is where the F-15E Strike Eagle radar is gonna be. So he's creating it. He's the guy doing it. So he's actually doing a radar in the way a radar can be replicated in the DCS environment.
Nice. I love to hear that. Do you have any ideas to, I don't know, it's probably early for this, but like which squadrons will be represented in the default product? Like, will we get, what was that one? Mountain Home, Air Force Base, or, some of the other squadrons as default liveries?
Well, as you know, being the Mudhang, not such a spread away aircraft. I mean, this is the United States Air Force version. I think all the squadrons using it will be included in the release version.
Nice, excellent. I got a buddy of mine. He actually lives in Boise, so he sees these guys like constantly. So I know he'll be pleased with that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what we're gonna do. Right now, the pictures of the aircraft as source cards. We don't want to post that many pictures of it yet, because we know all the hype around this aircraft, and we don't want to get the wrong impression. Like, oh, it's gonna be released now. It's coming next week now, and So you will see only in all the pictures you see just one squadron that it's depicted there. But eventually, I think all the squadrons will be included.
Sweet. That is awesome to hear. Thank you.
And speaking of the futures that you said about mission planning taking place on the ground, etc., is there anything, some unique system that no other aircraft in DCS currently has for that, like to doing recon missions or planning them on the ground in a different way?
Well, you just described the F-15 Extra Eagle. It has pretty unique features that no other aircraft currently in DCS have. Just mission planning and mission planning dynamics on board is something you have never seen before. I think probably the Harrier or the no, sorry, not the Harrier. Well, yeah, the Harrier and the F-15 F-1800 probably have the same amount, something pretty close to it. But like I said, pretty close. The F-15 Extra Eagle is America's primer F-15 strike aircraft, so you might imagine the features they have. Also, you have to keep in mind that, having said that being this actually a very aircraft in use, uh, pretty much being used right now, some of the features have to be toned down a bit because this is sensible information, and we have to work on a very thin red line.
I don't know if you can answer or want to answer, but it's officially being kind of approved by Boeing. You work with them, right? Like with the Mirage and Harrier?
The F-15E Extra Eagle is officially licensed by Boeing, yes.
Oh, okay.
That's why we can use the name Boeing F-15E Extra Eagle for this, yes.
I was going to say, can you talk about some of the sensors that are going to be included at launch? As in, is it going to have a TGP? Any?
Well, at launch we're going to have the T-pod lining. T-pod, I think, is the version 4, Gen 4, and the other sensor. Sorry, I don't have the nomenclature right now, but those will be included. Eventually, once I know that people are actually waiting for the sniper pod. Like I said before, all that kind of stuff has to be done by Guild Dynamics. We don't control that. So eventually, when Eagle Dynamics includes a sniper pod, the sniper pod will be included in the F-15 Extra Eagle. That goes out of our hands.
Understandable. How about any terrain following radar capabilities?
Of course, it will have terrain for the capabilities.
Excellent. I like that answer.
I mean, that's what the F-15 Extra Eagle radar does.
Yeah.
So if it does it, it will be there. And that will be one of the features of people would say, oh my God, this looks amazing.
Yeah, I don't think any aircraft inside of DCS have a terrain following radar implemented yet, so.
Well, I think basically because I think they will be the first aircraft with such capacity.
Because I know the F-16 has it as well, but it's not implemented. I don't know if they're going to eventually do it, but anyway, yeah.
I cannot talk for other people's development.
Yeah, of course.
There's another question that I just saw on the Discord here. It says, what do you guys think would be a good timetable to get, say, for example, another trailer and pre-order? I know that's kind of dipping into territory that we don't really want to answer, but I don't know. Educated guess?
Okay, you're asking me to start the hype train.
That's what the question reads. You don't have to, of course.
I don't know. I think you should save some of your beer money. By the time I don't know. Probably. Oh Jesus, this is a hard one. Maybe by summertime, probably. Not sure. I mean, this is a tricky one. Nice one. Yeah. Well,
I think a trailer would probably go a long way just to, keep the hype. Not that the F-15 needs any hype, mind you.
here's the thing. Listen, here's the thing. We have in the team. We have really great video content developers. I mean, I'm not gonna name them because if I fail to name one, it could be some problem. We are creating videos every time, and sometimes some are rejected, and someone says, "Yeah, they're good, they're not that good." But here comes the thing: every time we create a video with the F-15E Strike Eagle in it, and it appears, and then we say, "Hey, but that version is outdated." So, oh no, we cannot put that one because that version is outdated. Why the new version isn't in it? Because it wasn't ready yesterday, and this video was made 2 days ago, or 3 days ago, or a week ago. So okay, scratch that one. We got to do a new video. So that's why you don't see that much trailers. But I think that when you start seeing more trailers in a row, that will be like your bell. Then you'll see, something is coming.
That makes
Oh,
perfect
by the way,
sense.
the guys in the guy Clark and Reeve, they're making actually they're expecting to put out this week a video in the South Atlantic in the F-15 Star Eagle in a multiplayer environment.
Nice. Definitely looking forward to that. I have been keeping a close eye on your tweets, and I don't know how many people out there actually know that Ron is pretty active on Twitter. So if you ever want to get like sneak peeks of stuff that he's working on, it's right there on Twitter.
Thank you. Yeah, it's funny because I post something on Twitter and suddenly it's all over the Discord like in seconds. So I try to post things in Twitter and then in the Discord, but when I post it in Twitter, when I go to Discord, it's already there. Somebody copy it. Yeah, I post
Yes.
one of my stuff on Twitter.
Internet definitely works quickly, especially when it comes to, products that we're very much interested in using. So keep it up. That's all I can say. Keep it up. We'll do the best to spread the word.
Thank you. Thank you.
There were some questions about the flight characteristics of the F-15E. If there's something unique or like some difficulties that are going to be modeled or shown that are different than in the other aircraft.
Well, as you know, you have the F-15C wireless and FC3 aircraft. It's actually a pretty accurate flight model. Eagle Dynamics have invested a lot of time and resources to create a really good flight model for the F-15C. The E, well, it doesn't fly exactly like a C. It has its own quirks and different characteristics due to the fact that it's a heavier aircraft and different aerodynamics and drag coefficients into it. But I don't think you will see something surprisingly different from each version other one I just mentioned. I mean, of course, F-15C is the C is a fighter. Probably it's got faster or more nimble than the E version, but due to the fact that it's lighter. But that's something that's entirely surprisingly different. Like I said, the Dynamics did an amazing job with the flight dynamics of 15C, so it's basically what you can expect in the C flight model, you can expect in the E model, with the obviously changes due to the nature of the aircraft.
Yeah, so we talked about the AI Wizzo. I was gonna ask, how is the multiplayer capabilities coming along for the F-15?
Oh well, as you know, obviously being a two-seater, you can have a guy, an actual human multiplayer sitting behind, and work with all the switches and systems. Actually, that was the reason why I say we don't need an AI. Actually, we need somebody to actually fly there. But it's gonna have all the features for multiplayer. It's share aircraft. Two guys can fly in it and do what you have to do with it with all the systems, and they will behave the way they should. For instance, the Wizzo, its own 4 screens, he can move around them and change the information he needs without altering what the pilot is watching in his front seat. So all that thing is being modeled. At the same time, there are the visuals, the visual part of it. That if you're sitting in the back seat, you'll be able to see the guy in the pilot in the front seat moving around. If you're in the front seat, if you look back, you will see the guy moving around in the back seat.
That's my favorite part.
That will be. In fact, that's as we're speaking right now. Team is heavily working on this.
Yeah, it's usually my favorite part rocking out so we can talk to each other.
Yeah, actually, you can see, and as you know, uh, we use 3D scan source material, so that you can see. I don't know if you have seen the Mirage Pilot, the VR Mirage Pilot, or the Harrier Mirage Pilot. Those come from 3D scans. It's the same thing we're going to have for the Strike Eagle. You're going to have a VR body, and if you want to implement it or not. Personally, I don't like it, but people like it. But you can see the guy when you move back. You will see a 3D scan guy flying the WISO seat, and if you're the WISO, you want to see 3D scan guy flying as pilot.
I was going to mention that the Mirage Pilot is probably the best pilot that's included in any aircraft inside of DCS World at the present time. So,
Have you seen the Harrier one? I think the Harrier is better.
Do you think so?
Yeah, I think Harrier is
don't
better.
think there is one.
Is there a Harrier
Yeah.
pilot? I don't think I've ever. Yeah.
Check him.
I
Check
think the
him. It's
Harrier
amazing.
pilot is better. Maybe because it's newer.
Okay.
Younger.
Yeah, younger.
Is that something you have to like enable? You have to do like right shift P to bring that up? Because I think by default when you load in, it's not in there.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think
Yeah, you gotta enable it, I think.
that in the Harrier you have to enable it.
Oh, okay. Okay. See, I haven't seen the Harrier one yet, but the Mirage one's amazing, especially when you move the stick around and he moves his legs around.
Well, the same thing happens with the Harrier one. I think, in fact, the Harrier guy have more animations.
Interesting.
Yeah, he does.
Okay. I'll have to check that out.
All right, I'm scrolling through the questions. I think we haven't covered all of them, but some of them are kind of repeating themselves. One we have, as I don't know if you know, I mean, at this stage, if you can say anything about it, is the failures. Are there going to be a lot of random or kind of mission editor induced failures that you can have in the F-15E?
I don't think that's something that be more different than anything that is around, because I think that's a feature of the sim rather of what we can put in it. When you create, for instance, the electric system for the aircraft or the hydraulic system for the aircraft, you have to at the same time code failures. So I think that if the Dynamics implements different versions of failures, it will work with the aircraft.
Yeah, I guess most of the systems are similar anyway. I mean, the basic ones.
Yeah, I think it's definitely that's a core sim feature rather than a specific aircraft feature.
Okay, I mean, there's also been questions. I don't know, maybe that would be good for a separate episode actually. So for the Super Tucano, for the Pucara, for all the other modules that are there somewhere further down the line. Unless you want to speak a little bit about them, where you're at. Although you mentioned it to some extent.
I don't have no problems. Okay, the A29 Super Tucano, as I mentioned before, is basically a training tool first, and then a commercial product second. So its current state, visually, 3D wise, and texture and map, it's in a state where it's close to where we can start coding it. Some of the stuff that the actual client wants for his specific version of the aircraft. So it's in that regards, nothing I can speak freely yet. Once this thing is delivered to its client, and then we move to the next phase, which is actually putting it for the sim for people to use, I will be 100% free to speak anything you want. But it's nothing that's something classified, because you can go and look for Super Tucano anything you want on the internet, where it's contractual terms. And of the Pucara, well, in the Pucara, it's simpler aircraft. It's actually, steam gauges aircraft, and basically to make it work, to put in the sim, you have to finish it 3D, to 3D art, because the rest is very simple. It's like a World War II aircraft. That's why you see more stuff of it around, and you see more advancements of it around. And I think I'm, I think I'm quite sure that it will be available before the Super Tucano for the customers. I'm pretty sure. It's a different different aircraft in avionics. I mean, the Super Tucano is also a very complex aircraft. Probably it's a very complex aircraft in a very simple airframe. I don't. It's not that the Super Tucano is not a great aircraft, but I mean it's not a Strike Eagle. But the avionics and systems it has on board are really really cutting edge, and they have a lot of things. Not just because what it can do, the actual aircraft as a coin aircraft, but what it can replicate as a trainer aircraft. So it can replicate an F-16 Viper, and it can replicate an Viper Hornet, and I don't remember the other aircraft it can replicate. So all the systems that got to be inside of it. But each customer asks what they want this aircraft to replicate. Okay, it's not that you got a Super Tucano and you can put, okay, when I use this to replicate a Hornet. It doesn't work that way. But you had to put in it.
All right, thanks a lot for the update on those. And well, I think, guys, we've covered most of it. I'm sure there's lots of things, I mean, more details that we could go deeper into. But I'm happy. Tricker, Rob, Bel, anything else?
I think the only question I have, it actually isn't even related to any of the newer products. I just want to know, am I ever going to get back my 19 rocket pod for the Harrier? I loved that thing.
Sadly, no.
Oh, you're breaking my heart. I
Well,
love
but you
that
know
thing.
what? You know what? Listen. Since I mentioned the Year Three and the Sea Harrier and all those, the old school Harriers, uh, I'm not gonna rule out me as Razbam creating a AB-8A, which use that rocket pod.
Yeah, that's true. I could see that. And yeah, I am very much looking forward to the other variants of the Harriers too. So I'm sure I'll have fun. I've just learned to get better with things like the Maverick and whatnot, or with dumb bombs, so that way I don't have to rely on
Yeah.
rockets so
You
much.
know, this is the thing. I think I can speak for many of the people on board Razbam. Yeah, we are starting this because we use the game, we love the game, we used to fly and play with the game. But as things get more and more complicated, it really feels more like a job, like an actual enjoyment. So, for instance, Clark and the boys from the Clark and the boys from terrain development, they are all helicopter guys. So they like to fly low, slow, and they're having a lot of fun right now with the Apache. I was flying with them the other day, multiplayer in the Falklands map with the Apache, and yeah, it was great. I mean, I love flying with them, but just going from point A to point B and taking me like 45 minutes, I was like snoring until I get to the target. Yeah, but at the same time, I have to keep awake because I have to fly the thing. So I'm more into, yeah, I want to go from point A to point B like 40 minutes and go the whole map, right? So, but yeah, it's like you said. I mean, a lot of things to learn, and I'm telling you right now, I talk with the coding guys, Etienne, Larry, T. Jorn, CJ, they say, and they'll tell me, I think that besides Boeing or Dassault, we are the guys that know a lot of these aircraft better than anybody else. And you know what? This thing is really, really, really boring.
Well, the knowledge does show, so we do appreciate that. And as long as Baltic Dragon, cough, cough, keeps coming out with those Harrier tutorial or the updated Harrier tutorials, I think we'll all be good.
Yeah, I have some in the making. I had to update some stuff because it doesn't work as it used to, which is good, I guess.
Yeah, man, amazing job, dude. I mean, I think that, yeah, well, it doesn't, probably what won't sound good, me talking good about my own product, but I'm saying I think and really believe that the training missions you did for the Harrier are probably the best around, if not the best around.
Well, thank you. Yeah, it's getting better because I have to update them constantly because you're updating the
Yeah,
aircraft.
now you have to
Stop.
update.
All right, guys, that's been great fun. So let's not prolong this and let everyone who wants to go to fly some Falcons do it. Thank you very much, everyone, for being with us and giving us all the amazing details about the Falklands, which are, as we heard, coming pretty soon, and the F-15E, which is also coming pretty soon, all things considered. And yeah, any parting shots?
I think we're
Doesn't seem
good.
to be the case. So yeah, thanks a lot, and so see you next time for some more. We'll see what's next, but anyway, looking forward to the next episode, and also next episode of Razbam on the future products, and looking forward to seeing Falklands very soon.
Thanks,
Thank you very
guys.
much.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks for listening to Air Combat Sim. Don't forget to subscribe or tell a friend about it. You have a question, idea for an episode, or a special guest you'd like us to invite? Feel free to reach out on Facebook, Discord, or via email. Air Combat Sim was brought to you by BVR Productions.
Sounds like you're listening to the news
All right,
on
that's.
the,
Go ahead.
in the background.
No, it's all right. I'm just going to hit our last.
Sorry?
Well,
He's on the ship right now listening
shall
to
we
the
cut
news.
this out?
It's all right. Domestic violence averted.
Now we need some seagulls in the background and some whale noises.
Oh, jeez.
It's all right, Clark. I've issued the big stick threat.
Good man.